So something a little bit different this time. This is a creepypasta that I wrote. So I won't be critiquing this because obviously I'll let you guys be the judge. Once again, it's Spider-Man themed because this is kind of a Spider-Man themed channel, so we're gonna keep him with that, but I know I had someone suggest a Superman creepypasta, so I'll be getting to that in the future. So let's begin with Spider-Man 2, The Cursed Copy. Every Thursday at around 5 PM, the DVD lady comes. A nice old lady, lives locally, brings a box of secondhand DVDs and we can choose to buy some. At £1 each, it makes for some cheap entertainment for the winter evenings in our relatively quiet neighborhood, in which all of the shops close around this time, so there's nothing else to do. It was a cold evening and I saw her make her way up the porch. Polite as ever, I browsed the cardboard box. She had all kinds of blockbusters this time. Die Hard 4, Star Wars 3, John Wick, but there in the box, I saw it. A film I loved when I was a kid and haven't watched since it came out, Spider-Man 2. I remember being absolutely mesmerized in the theater while watching it. Seeing Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus fight on the side of the train, it was pure movie magic. The stuff of dreams. I honestly wondered why I never thought of buying it on home release sooner, so obviously that film was my first choice. After dinner, I gleefully popped Spider-Man 2 in the DVD player. I wasn't sure if it was just that I hadn't seen the film for a while, but something was definitely different from memory. You'll forgive me for my lack of knowledge about Spider-Man. I am aware he was a comic book character before the movies, but I'm not much of a comic book guy. I definitely recall Spider-Man 2 being a thrilling action movie, but that certainly wasn't what I saw on that cold Thursday evening. There was something very wrong with my copy of the film compared to the nostalgic childhood memories of seeing it in the theater. This felt like a knockoff. The special effects were about as good as I remembered, and it started with some action, and Spider-Man looked pretty much exactly as I remembered him looking in his red and blue suit. But Spider-Man wasn't behaving as I would expect him to. Throughout the film, Spider-Man is followed by a silent police officer who is covered in blood and wounds who we assume is a ghost of sorts. That's strange. I don't remember Peter Parker ever being physically haunted by anybody. Is this supposed to be Uncle Ben? The film didn't run coherently either, as the narrative definitely felt as though it was scrambled and reordered. But why though? Is there a message in this that I need to see or decipher? I sat through it assuming that this film just wasn't as I remembered, but things only got worse. Peter's best friend Harry, who I remember being played by James Franco for some reason, is dying, and Spider-Man is able to cure him, and yet he refuses, without really giving any kind of proper reason for it. This certainly wasn't the Spider-Man that I remembered. He also stalks a now blonde version of Mary Jane, after breaking up with her, following her around and watching her as if he's about to prey on her in any instant. But worse yet, as if by some horrible accident, this was not the story where Spider-Man gets the girl after battling Dr. Octopus. In this new version, Mary Jane dies a horrible death as Spider-Man fails to catch her after being dropped off by a new villain, and this was the strangest thing. In this version, Dr. Octopus was nowhere to be found. There was no fight on a train. In fact, it was as though any and all action had been cut out of this one, save for a few very brief action sequences. In this film, Harry Osborn transformed into a hairy troll, but for no reason at all, the film featured a man made of electricity. At this point, I was unsettled. Surely my memories cannot betray me like this. Is this dementia? What sort of creepy, otherworldly version of my childhood movies was this? This was not Spider-Man 2. This was definitely a demented version of it. So I went to the online message boards to ask if anybody knew about some sort of cut of Spider-Man 2 involving an evil Spider-Man, a man made of electricity, and a blonde Mary Jane. The users of the forum asked me to describe the film further, which I did, and it transpired that this film was more common than I thought it was. And it was just in fact The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the sequel to the 2012 remake of Spider-Man, and it turns out that this is not some demonic, demented alternative cut after all. the nightmare was over. I bought myself a copy of the real Spider-Man 2, and admittedly, I probably should have noticed the fact that the previous DVD said The Amazing at the top of its cover art, but hey, apples and oranges, right? And as I sat down to enjoy the film I loved so much as a child, Hollywood film producer Avi Arad broke into my house and beat me to death with a Venom action figure, and I'm writing this story post-mortem. Thanks for reading. Okay, so that's the first creepypasta I've ever written. Now, admittedly, it's more of a parody of your average Lost episode creepypasta and a parody of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I don't need to explain this stuff. You guys can figure it out for yourselves. Anyway, what do you guys think? Comment below, go easy on me. And, yeah, in the description below are links to my Patreon and Discord. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and stay tuned because there's some real exciting ads coming up. Oh, hey gang, look at this! Channel Goat is back, but he's got bad news. His computer was hacked by the Adzinko gang, and they leaked his private information. And now his goat cojones are there for everybody to see. Ah man, that's quite a predicament you got there, Channel Goat. And the thing is, you're not the only one. Do you know how many people get hacked per year and have their personal information and data spread online for all to see? A lot. Like, look it up. And I know what the rest of you are thinking. It hasn't happened to me, yet. Well, emphasis on yet. I mean, how old are you? Right, now how long is the average human lifespan? That's a lot of time that you could get hacked in. And by the time that's done, everybody is gonna know what your pee-pee looks like. Do you really want that? Do you really want the world to see your pee-pee? You run that risk every single day, guys. Seriously, hackers, pretty talented people. Which is why I, for one, use NordVPN to protect my private information and my Nords. It shuffles your data so that it can't be found by hackers, but not only that, it can also unlock the worldwide range of Netflix. And like, who wouldn't want that, right? Now you can really maximize your subscription. The fact is, guys, you could save yourself the stress and a lawsuit by simply browsing with NordVPN. And I've made it easy for you. A link is in the description below. And this subscription comes with a promise. Nobody has to know what you're into anymore. You little furry you. Anyway, sign up today. Seriously, do it. Please? For your sweet little puppy? This video is brought to you by Zentai for all your cosplay needs. Link is in the description below and they are very cool and good. Cosplay your favorite characters or send in one of your own designs. Affordable prices and very high quality. Made to order and made to measure. But most of all, made to be heckin' awesome. If you couldn't already tell. Guys, can you believe where we are now and where we started? How long ago it was that Channel Pup or Channel Goat even came about? Because it really wasn't that long when you think about it. Can you believe the amount of support I've received from this community, from all of you subscribing to the channel and everything? It's unreal. It's a dream come true for me. But behind the YouTubers you watch usually comes a bit of a truth, is that they're often dirt poor. Now, I've had the good fortune of being able to grow this YouTube channel and hopefully turn it into a career, but I'm gonna need a little bit of help along the way, to even the odds, to make ends meet, so that I can use all of the possible time that I have to make videos for you guys, as opposed to doing something mundane, for barely enough money to make it worth its while. I've done all that, I've lived that life. The fact is, together we all built Channel Pup. We made it what it is today, and I want to keep the ball rolling on that. I don't ever want to stop doing this, because this is the most gratifying job I've ever had, and I think the most pleasurable hobby anyone could ever have. I don't take any of the support that I receive from you guys for granted, but if in any way you're wondering if maybe you could do a little more for the channel even, then I want to direct you to the Patreon link in the description below. It would mean the world to me to have your support via Patreon. It can help me to make ends meet. It can help me to better my content. It can help me to have more time to really work on this stuff. But you know what? I'm not just going to take your support and run. No way, Jose. In the Patreon, you can access exclusive videos via the Pups Project Room playlist, where you can see different projects that I've been working on or have worked on that have either not made it to YouTube for general viewing or have been cancelled, or, well, you can get a little view of the process that goes behind the Channel Pup videos and productions. As well as that, you tend to get advanced previews of the bigger Channel Pup projects, our tentpole event projects. If you've seen Marvelous Tales of Spider-Man, you'll be aware that that was released on the Patreon first, and 20 days later approximately was released for general viewing on YouTube. That's not the only time I'm gonna do this. But you know what? If you can't do the Patreon or are just not interested in doing the Patreon, I fully understand. Like, it's still a big ask in my opinion. And what counts most is your support. So, as always, thank you so much, guys. I've been Channel Pup, and I will think of a better catchphrase next time. Now please leave me alone!